What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here with another video, and today we are doing round two of your second ever fan mock. So again, I'm gonna preface this entire video by saying, if you don't like a pick, it's your own fault that you're not in the Discord. So of course, links are in the description. All the links are down in the description. You guys can of course reach out to me on social media. You can use my code for a limited time at manscaped.com. You guys can look down there. You guys can figure it out. I know you guys are some very smart, bright people because you came to the right place. If you want some good draft content, of course, produce content every day. So if you guys are new, like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. So starting off with the number 3 pick, of course, I got to make sure I got all your picks right here to not mess this up for you. You guys decided on selecting Kadarius Toney here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And to be fair, I thought Laviska Shenault was in your slot. He's actually played boundary for most of the year, so that's 100% on me. I think that the whole entire reason I ended up taking Elijah Moore round 1 is because I was like, oh, we could probably take, like, the Jacks could probably take him here at 33. So just saying, pretty good pick. You keep him in Florida, and, Jackson, I mean, in Jacksonville, he's going to work really well. Again, he's used to that type of climate, so he's not going to get, like, totally drugged out by that horrific environment sometimes with the humidity. And then he's a really unique player, the way he runs, and he was the first guy that ever caught my eye. That was not supposed to rhyme, but he was the first guy who ever caught my eye, and I was like, oh, well, I kind of want to write this guy down. He seems like someone who would be really good. And lo and behold, I mean, my first ever guy who got me into scouting, well, he's here. And it turns out he was really good. So he's definitely a very unique prospect. He might fall or he might rise just because of that. And it just depends on what the team looks and what the team sees in him. But he just moves differently, and that's why he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's just, I continue to say this, different. And to me, I'm perfectly fine with that pick, especially given the fact that Shenault was more on the outside. Put Kadarius in that slot, and he's gonna light it up. The Jets are here, and you guys have Robert Saleh, and you guys like to run a wide 9. So one of you guys was like, oh, well, let's get Jayson Oweh here out of Penn State. So that's a pretty interesting fit. I mean, I think it's realistic given the fact that Oweh had an insane combine, but obviously he didn't have that great of a season, given, of course, the fact that, he obviously didn't even have a sack. But Jayson Oweh is the rawest prospect you can find. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to definitely be interesting if you want to look at the other pick that the Jets did. Of course, we did round 1 yesterday. You got JOK, who's going to be another experimental project, but he's definitely much more seasoned, much more ready to play if he's put in the right situation, which I believe slot corner, the Jets would be a really, really good fit. But next with the Atlanta Falcons, which, by the way, might be working with them this summer. We'll see about that. They went Jaelan Phillips, edge out of Miami, and I'm fine with it. This is a team where you could potentially bust out on another edge pick. You guys have never really had a really solid edge rush in my entire life. That might be a little bit of an overstatement, but like obviously in the time that I've been really following the NFL, I mean, you go from like Vic Beasley, Dante Fowler Jr. It's not the greatest thing in the world, right? So this is going to be a pretty good fit there. Pretty sure you guys are running a 4-3 cover 3 scheme, similar, just like the standard shit that you see around the NFL nowadays. But Jaelan Phillips is a really good project. And he has insane athleticism, 4.56 official 40-yard dash. We said it was 4.46. I was like, oh shit. Even if it's 4.56, that's absolutely insane, especially for his size and stuff. People were saying he's like more Montez Sweat type. He's a really, really good prospect, man. I say he's a top 10 to 12 talent in this class. It's just those concussions scare the shit out of me. And people who try to say that, like the people who instantly try to say, oh, the concussions aren't that big of a deal, I immediately write you off. I'm going to be honest. It's like concussions, like you can get rid of an ACL. You can get rid of this. You can get rid of that. You can never get rid of concussions. They're there forever. And if he was forced to retire due to protocol, the protocols are there for a reason. So there's a legit reason why Jaelan Phillips was forced to retire. And it might cause for him to retire very early, or else, I mean, God forbid, something could happen where his personality flips and we could see like an Aaron Hernandez situation. I'm praying to God that's not going to happen, but it's scary. It's really scary, and that's why a top 10 to 12 talent should be picked right around here. And again, I hope the best for Jaelan Phillips. I love him. You guys can go back to my videos during the summer. I love Jaelan Phillips, but it just scares the shit out of me. At number 36, the Dolphins. You guys rocked. Somebody who I always rock here. Javonte Williams out of North Carolina. Big fan of it. Again, RBBC, perfect fit. He's going to be right there into that power back role, and he's going to flourish. He could be the true number one back in an RBBC, and that means you could probably take around 2/3 of the carries and then let your more elusive receiving backs. I mean, he can still receive too. That's a great thing. I think he's going to be here because he tested like 4.58, which is wonderful. I mean, he plays around 4.5 speed, which is perfectly fine. And he has breakaway runs and stuff. And again, I think people don't understand that you should never use combine numbers as something to really base your opinion off of, unless it's drastic. Like, oh, wow, well, Patrick Surtain ran a 4.2. Like, how the hell did he do that? Maybe he got really in shape. If Patrick Surtain runs a 4.4, I'm going to assume that he's going to play at like a 4.5, 4.6 speed. And then I see the tape, and he's running 4.6, 4.7 speed. So Javonte plays at speed. Another guy, Rondale Moore, we'll talk about him later, plays a lot slower. He used to play in 2018 at a very, very fast pace. But next pick, we got the Eagles. And you guys decided to go Nick Bolton, which I'm fully in support of. Nick Bolton's a really good prospect. He has a lot to grow. And I think that he's going to be a really good run support guy with Saquon Barkley, with Zeke Elliott in the division. You definitely have guys that are really prolific runners. And then you can also bring in Antonio Gibson in there. Like, you need somebody who's really good in the run game. Not that great in coverage, but I think you got a guy like Davion Taylor who could probably be a little bit better than that as he continues to develop. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of that pick that you guys did. Next, at 38, the Bengals. This was an interesting one. You guys went Rondale Moore here. So speaking of the man, I think that, again, Rondale Moore doesn't play at the 4.2 speed that he'd calculated at. I think he plays more at like 4.5, 4.6. He gets caught up by dudes. And it's weird to just see him do that. But again, RJ Gillen, the 49ers head scout, told me that he's like, well, 2018, when he played his freshman years, people were like, holy shit, this guy plays at 4.2 speed. So to me, that's a little bit scary. I know that he can like run that, but if he can't play at it anymore, I don't think people should take that 4.2 into a factor. It's wonderful, and I hope the best for Rondale because, I mean, who the heck doesn't want to see a really exciting, electric pass catcher? But I have my reserved doubts there. So next at 39, we got the Carolina Panthers, and you guys selected Asante Samuel Jr., which I am a huge fan of. I don't care if you run man, you run zone. Apparently, you're shifting more to a man zone like rotation because you guys used to be the highest zone team in the NFL back a couple years ago. But Asante Samuel, I mean, he has that mentality. I think he deserves to go by here. He's such an amazing cornerback, guys. And I think NFL teams are going to love him. I think he could go in the first, depending on how the corners fall. I like the idea of him going at 28 to the Saints or 29 to the Packers. I'm a big fan of it. So he's an absolutely an excellent player. And I'm just a huge fan of it. I can't say it enough. Next with the Broncos, you guys decided to select Christian Barmore. So I believe this was between Travis Etienne or Christian Barmore. And we ended up landing on Christian Barmore here just because he's a day one interior defensive lineman. And it's somebody where if he falls this far, you can use him as an edge. You can use him in the middle. He's definitely a very versatile, very explosive player. And he is the clear-cut number one defensive lineman in the class. So, well, interior defensive lineman, not defensive lineman. He's definitely one of the best. So big props to Christian Barmore, who was supposed to have the Quinnen Williams jump, but just really didn't until those final two games, which, again, take 2 games out of everybody's tape. I mean, I'm sure a lot of busts have some damn good 2-game tape, so we got to factor in all those other games. At this next spot, we rotate on to 41, and, well, this is another interesting one. The Lions went Terrace Marshall Jr. here. So, I mean, I guess Tyrell Williams can really teach him how to, he can be a good mentor. I'm a little bit worried because I think Terrace does need a good mentor. So I'm a little bit worried about his progression, but he is undeniably a really young, really high-end talent. I could have seen Terrace Marshall here. Honestly, if you flop these 2 picks, I also would be more happy with it because, again, then, I mean, you can have Joe Burrow with Terrace Marshall again, and that would be a dream. So, honestly, watch out for that being the second-round pick if they go Penei Sewell in the first, which they better. Next, we got the Giants, and you guys decided to rock instead of you guys are going to shift Nick Gates, by the way. You guys are going Landon Dickerson. So you're going to go Landon Dickerson at center and Nick Gates to, I believe, right guard. So that was an interesting pick. Obviously Landon Dickerson in my eyes is my center one. Definitely don't like Creed Humphrey that much, but it's I think that you guys could have went a guy like Wyatt Davis, who's going to be more of a mauler, or Trey Smith, who's more of a mauler. Heck, you could have waited and gotten Deontay Brown to fit in that right guard spot. I know he played left guard, but I think that there's more potential with the other guards than just putting Nick Gates at guard. But Landon Dickerson's a really good talent, so I can't really blame you guys too much. And that leaves the Niners to be sitting here to select Wyatt Davis, which again, you're pairing him up with his quarterback. So that's a big plus that Wyatt Davis already has experience protecting the guy who's behind him. Wyatt Davis is a little bit too raw. I honestly think that Josh Myers will be much better day one, but Wyatt Davis, you see the potential there. He's an absolute stud. So big props to the San Francisco 49ers for being able to keep their second round pick and get their franchise quarterback, which, by the way, the pro day that Justin Fields had today kind of solidified that. So next, we got 44. The Cowboys are sitting there, and we see me do the we see me. You guys see me take this pick all the time. Levi Onwuzurike. Obviously, I would like to have Christian Barmore fall to them, and usually this is a safety pick, but you guys definitely got a lot of safeties through free agency, and of course they're on one-year contracts, so that doesn't mean you can rule this out. But the defensive front, again, I mentioned the guys in the division. You can now add Miles Sanders to the list. You guys need to make sure you can stuff that run. So big fan of being able to get Levi, who ran like the 4.85 unofficial. That's pretty damn good for interior defensive lineman, man. That's really special. The Jags are sitting there, and I'm honestly surprised that you guys didn't take Jaylen Mayfield here, but you decided to go Brevin Jordan over Pat Freiermuth, which again, I think that people are starting to realize that Brevin Jordan's really good. He ran the high 4.6s, which is surprising to me because I swear I thought he would run in the 4.4s. He just looked super athletic, but again, play speed. Hopefully he didn't just get chubby and just get out of shape in the offseason, but play speed, he's absolutely insane. He looks really, really good and very, very, he's such a, he's very good. That's where I'm going to leave it. He's an extremely talented tight end. If you guys want to see my scouting report on him, I came in thinking he was going to be a third round pick, maybe even a fourth, and put him top 20 in the draft. That's how much I love him. Maybe top 25. Patriots are sitting there and they're going to say, you know what? We're going to get somebody who I'm a big fan of this pick, Jamin Davis, somebody who can eventually replace Dante Hightower. And you guys got a bunch of linebackers, but a lot of them are pass rushing. You got like Raekwon McMillan there, who's going to be more of a Sam blitzing linebacker. Jamin Davis is more of a coverage linebacker, and I'm a big fan of this. He's a perfect guy to fit on New England. And again, only 11 starts, so he has more room to develop and grow. So awesome. Really good pick there. Big fan of that. Good job to whoever was commanding the New England Patriots at the time. At 47, the Chargers. So the idea behind this pick, the person Francisco was trying to convey was that you guys want to get rid of Uchenna Nwosu and end up trying to trade him for a linebacker. Obviously, that kind of goes against the rules of the draft, but Joseph Asai was the pick. Again, I think Joseph Asai is an absolute stud. I'm going to be doing a tape study on him very soon, so keep your eyes out for that. He's a really talented player. So I'm definitely pretty happy with being able to see Joseph Asai go to at least the Rams defensive coordinator will be able to know how to use him. I just think he's a little bit light for the position. So we'll see. I think that's a little bit out of the scheme, but we can see him be used in a Leonard Floyd type of way, and hopefully in a type of way that he won't be completely minimized, because I know Leonard Floyd was 6'6". So just praying. It's a good idea. We'll just see if it comes out to be as good of a pick as we think it could be. Next, at the Raiders pick, let's see. You guys decided to replace Richie Incognito in the future, as well as, of course, the other guard spot. Trey Smith, a big fan of this pick. You guys are known for taking guys like Maurice Hurst with like potential heart issues and stuff. So, I mean, if the medical's clear, he's worth a first-round pick, man. He's an excellent guard, excellent player. I'm such a huge fan of Trey Smith. So, I mean, this is you run straight up to the podium if this is right here. If the medicals check out, I would assume the Chargers might take him at that spot, but we'll see. At 49, we got the Arizona Cardinals, and I traded up for this guy in my last draft. You got Travis Etienne. So running backs are falling, and that's okay. Travis Etienne ran the 4.4s, and I honestly thought he'd run faster. And we're gonna be honest, I thought he'd run faster, but you know, obviously ETN didn't have a great 3-cone. He didn't have a great 20-yard shuttle. So I think he couldn't fall this far. Legitimately, he's a home run hitting threat. So he's a perfect fit for a team like the Cardinals, who run a very unique style of zone run. But obviously they're very quarterback run centric, and Travis Etienne's perfect for that. I'd be very, very happy to see him in Arizona in Scottsdale's on Sundays. So next pick, we got the Miami Dolphins, and you guys were right to the podium with this one. You guys got Joe Tryon. And to be honest, it's worth taking at that spot. He's has so much potential that I wouldn't be surprised if you do take him there. Again, I would just probably rather go, because you guys got AVT in the first. I'd honestly rather go with Kwity Paye at that spot. But, Joe Tryon's a really good project. 51. We got to see what you guys picked up here. Washington football team selected one of my draft gems, Dwayne Eskridge. And don't know if you really need it, but of course, Adam Humphries is always injured. So, I mean, it's not like he won't play. Dwayne Eskridge can probably start over Adam Humphries as well. I'm a huge fan of Dwayne. He's so good. I love him to death. I'm actually sending my scouting reports to NFL teams, one of them being Dwayne Eskridge's report, because I fell in love with this guy. Former cornerback, and he just lights it up. I can't say enough. He ran the 4.3s, and you know what? He plays lower. He plays faster than what he scored, and that's special to me. So I love Dwayne Eskridge. Huge fan of him. I think that he doesn't have too much room to grow just because of the fact that he is more in the 24-year-old age. But we saw Calvin Ridley come into the league, and he's developed quite a bit as well. So he also came in at 24. We can see some similar things with Dwayne Eskridge. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him at the end of the first. He's such a good wide receiver. The Bears came running to the podium here, and it makes kind of Washington look kind of dumb because Jaylen Mayfield was here when you took Samuel Cosby in the first. Jaylen Mayfield's such a good player. Honestly, if the Bears get this, I really don't know what to say. Hell, before obviously Colton Miller was signed today for an extension, I would have taken Jaylen Mayfield right here. I would have taken Jaylen Mayfield right here for the Chargers. I don't think Bulaga really is the answer, and you could always kick in Jaylen Mayfield to guard. I take Mayfield right there. Honestly, take Mayfield right there. Could even take him right there if you want to put him at guard. Again, take him right there. Obviously, White Davis is really good, though. There's a lot of different places I'll take him. That's the bottom line. Obviously, the Panthers, another spot for him. But next, the Tennessee Titans. I drafted this one. We got Tyson Campbell. He's built as a man corner, and the NFL is extremely high on him. Higher on him than Eric Stokes. That is the report. And he plays like it. Honestly, I have them both as early seconds with their potential. Obviously, day one, Eric Stokes will be better in his own scheme. But Tyson Campbell in this scheme, perfect. I have an early second on Tyson in this scheme. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if they decided to trade back and potentially try to pick up and maybe trade back and trade up and get both Tyson Campbell and Elijah Moore in the early second / late first. Big fan of these guys. Next with the Colts, I believe I might have picked this one as well. Ifeatu Melifonwu. Obviously you got Xavier Rhodes back, but that doesn't mean everything. He is getting older, and you want to get a starting caliber corner. And Ifeatu Melifonwu has been hinted as a first-round cornerback by NFL teams. So, I'm a big fan of it. Next with the Steelers, you guys came running up to the podium on this one. You're pairing up the Alabama boys. Najee Harris is going back with Mac Jones. Obviously, not having a tackle, that kind of hurts. But Najee Harris is an absolute stud. And, I don't have something against Najee Harris. I just think people don't factor in scheme as well as wear and tear. Najee Harris was heavily used. You look at Jonathan Taylor, he fell into the mid-second, and, obviously he actually went higher than what most people expected. But still, you fall because of that. It's something that you have to take into account. You don't draft a player for 5 years. You draft them hoping in these first 2 rounds, hoping they'll be starters for 8 years, 10 years. So this is something where the Steelers are trying to win now. They got Mac Jones in the first, which obviously you take that if you do. And then you get Najee Harris here, who will be the true running back, the answer. And the Steelers can address the line elsewhere in a very, very heavily stacked line class. Next, with the Seattle Seahawks, you guys want Aaron Robinson. Which, again, honestly, I'd probably be rocking a guy like Paulson Adebo here out of Stanford, but Aaron Robinson's so good, I don't really mind. Because I don't know if Seattle needs a slot corner, but I do know they need a boundary. Keith Taylor also tested in the low 4.4s. I think he tested 4.41. I think he's going to be in the second round. That's my gut instinct. He's going to be a second-round player. Washington. I was just talking, of course, about Washington players, but Los Angeles. What are we going to do? What did you guys select? You guys decided to run to the podium and select Creed Humphrey out of Oklahoma. Again, if you use him as a guard, I think he's worth this pick, hands down. As a center, if he develops, he could be worth this pick. I think day one, he is not even close to ready as a center. Don't think he analyzed the blitz package as well. Got not Desmond Ridder. He got Spencer Rattler killed multiple times on tape, and it was disgusting. As former lineman myself, I found it disgusting and vile to watch how Creed Humphrey processed a blitz that came right up the middle, right into his face, too. He just let him by. Just got Spencer Rattler killed multiple times, too. That was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? But I don't know. People love him. I don't. I really don't. At 58, the Ravens are sitting there, and you guys decided to go Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, obviously, running the 4.5 is not going to scare you. Sammy Watkins is going to be a one-year project. I would have went Tylan Wallace there because I think he would have been a really good understudy to a guy like Sammy Watkins. But Amon-Ra is super good too. So I don't mind it at all. I really don't mind it. Next with the Browns, you guys decided to go an interesting route. You guys went Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky. Very, very much not a fan of Kelvin Joseph. My guy Mason and I both don't like him at all. We think that there's just random hype for no reason. And to me, I think Kelvin Joseph is like a fourth rounder, maybe even a fifth. I think people like him because he has some athletic traits and he's young. Like he got destroyed by Kyle Pitts, which I mean, most people got destroyed by Kyle Pitts, but he just did not look very good. He had a good game against Alabama. I think that's the only reason why people think that he could be good is because he flashed against Alabama. But I mean, again, turn on the tape for most players who are like top round busts, they'll have a good game in there. I honestly just do not have much faith in Kelvin Joseph, and it might be my fault. I might be wrong there, but I'm going to stick to that stance. And the Saints are sitting here, and there's a lot of wide receivers on the board. You decided to go Ronnie Perkins, and I don't really think it fits your scheme, but with how injured Marcus Davenport is, I wouldn't be too surprised if they go the edge route. I just could see a Boogie Basham being that nice little 4-3 bookend. Again, Ronnie Perkins, really damn good as well. Wouldn't mind it too much. And with our next pick, we're coming up on the final 4 picks, guys. With the next pick, we got the Buffalo Bills, and I mean, there's some good corners on the board. There's some good players left. You decide to go tight end with Pat Freiermuth. So that's a good one. You know, obviously the Bills were in the sweepstakes for Gronk, and you get what some people, not myself, calls baby Gronk. I actually have Pat Freiermuth as Vance McDonald, which is still a really good comp. Like, I think that's going to be excellent. I think he's going to be a very solid starter for 15 years. Just don't think he's going to have that much explosiveness. Obviously, Pat Freiermuth has a big balance problem, more than Penei Sewell even. It's just, I think that he'll probably go around here. If people think he'll go at the top of the second, I'm sorry. I can't stand behind it. They tried to play him in the slot this year, and he just looked crap. He just looked garbage, man. Next, the Packers. I think you guys are going to like this one. You guys, I'm just going to make sure this is true because I don't want to excite you guys too much and just end up taking it away from you. Tylan Wallace, that's an excellent pick. That's a great pick. I'm very happy it wasn't Tutu dumbass Atwell, who weighed in at 155 and ran in the 4.4s when he should have ran the 4.2s. I'm telling you guys, I didn't really see it too much from Tutu. Just wasn't really that big of a fan of him. And number 63, we got the Chiefs. And we already know someone's going to be bitching about it in the comments section again. If you want to bitch about it, that's your own fault. You weren't there. De'Ami Brown out of North Carolina. Again, I'm a fan of this pick. I think that's great. I think it's a great fit for Sammy Watkins' place. So I really don't understand the big need. I mean, again, you have to look at the other rounds, and I think some people just don't. But De'Ami Brown's an absolute stud, and it's worth taking that spot. And number 64, the Bucks are actually going to do what I think they should have done in the first round. You guys were debating between Davion Nixon and Milton Williams, who's a stud, but Davion Nixon can plug the middle a bit better. Davion Nixon it was. So let me know what you guys think. Check back tomorrow for rounds 3 and 4 because on April 1st, we're going to have the worst mock draft ever, which is pretty much not actually the worst. It's going to be just like second choices and stuff. But enjoy it. Let's have some fun. I'll see you on the far side. Peace.